Okay, welcome back to part 2 of my Father's Day post. This is a post for backsliders or ex-atheists who realize that you made a mistake and maybe God is real, maybe the Bible is real, maybe Jesus is real. You have come to that realization, and you were once a Christian, but now you say Jesus never existed, or that He is not the Son of God, or that God Himself is not real. So this is for you all. I stopped at verse 16 of Luke 15. It says, "And he would fain have filled his belly with the husks that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him." I don't know if that means no man gave him the pig food or no man gave him anything else. I'm not sure what no man gave unto him. Verse 17, "And when he came to himself, he said, How many hired servants of my father's have bread enough to spare, and to spare, and I perish with hunger." Let's stop right there. And when he came to himself. Some of you all have come to yourself. You're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, am I serious? Like, my dad has everything I need. Like, when I was saved, I had no issues. I didn't have these issues with these prostitutes and with drugs and alcohol and partying and fighting and stealing and crime and, being in and out of jail. Some of you all have come to yourselves. You said, what am I doing? When I was bored and I was a church girl, a church boy, but at least I didn't have all these issues. At least I was fine. I was bored, but I had no problems, or I didn't have as many problems as I have now. So some of you all have come to yourself. And this guy, when he came to himself, he said, "How many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger?" He realized how silly it was. I'm sitting here starving, dying, literally dying of starvation. He said, perish with hunger. That means dying of starvation. And I perish with hunger. He said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough and to spare? They have enough bread. They have more than enough bread to eat. And he said even to spare. That means that they even had enough bread to share with people. They could have shared that with their mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, children, wives, friends, homeless people in the streets. They had bread enough and to spare. So he realized that made no sense, that the indentured servants, or the maids, the nannies, the butlers, the chauffeurs, that makes no sense that the servers, it makes no sense that they have bread enough and to spare, and I'm sitting here willingly going to eat some pig food. It makes no sense to me. He came to himself. He had a realization. He had an epiphany. He had a eureka moment. Like, I got an idea. I can go back to my dad's house. That's how some of you all need to realize. You can go back to your dad's house. You can. It's no use in you sitting here living this lifestyle. Why? You're not getting anything out of it, and you're actually losing stuff because of it. Let's come back home. But I know what's keeping some of you all from coming back home, and I'm gonna read what Jesus wrote, and we'll talk about it later on. But so in verse 18, he says, I will arise and go to my father. I will arise and go to my dad's house, and I will say to him, Dad, or Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee. I have sinned against heaven and before thee. I like how he didn't just say, I sinned against you, Dad, by spending all your money. He actually went so far as to say, I've sinned against heaven. And I think it was very admirable of him to even acknowledge, like, not only have I sinned against you by spending all this money, is you spent my whole childhood storing up this money for me, and I just wasted it on nothing. I have nothing to show for it. But he actually said, I've sinned against heaven. I thought that was very honorable of him. And before thee. He mentioned heaven before he mentioned his dad. He sinned against heaven and then his dad. He sinned against God and then his dad. Verse 19, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. This guy was willing to renounce his sonship because he had lived a sinful lifestyle. And that's where some of you all are at right now. You all have renounced the faith. You say, God can't forgive me. I've been too stupid. I've been living too wild. Ain't no way He gonna forgive me. I can't be forgiven for this. I'm just gonna go ahead and just wish I just was a servant. I'll just clean the toilets at the church. I'll just serve the food at the church picnic. but I'm not gonna be a son again. I'm not gonna even claim a son no more. I'm not gonna claim a daughter no more because I've acted a fool. So he just said, I'm just gonna be satisfied being a servant. Imagine if your daughter ran away from home. No. Imagine if for those of you who have good mothers and fathers, or good adopted parents or good guardians who love you and would miss you if you ran away. Imagine if you came back home. Let's say you ran away for 3 years. You came back home and you was like, Mom, Dad, I was acting a fool. I've been acting silly. I lived a wild lifestyle. Can I just come in and just be a servant? You mind if I just clean your toilets, Mom? Can I just, can I just serve you all food every night, Dad? Can I just take care of your new babies that you had since I was gone? Can I just raise them? Can I be a nanny? Can I just be the chauffeur? Can I just drive you all around? Imagine you going back to your mom's house and saying that to her. Or for those of you who have children, if your child was to sin against you and to run away from home for a few years and they came back home, imagine your daughter knocking on the door after 3 years saying, Dad, I'm really hungry and I haven't eaten in some days and I'm really hungry, and if you would just let me come home and I'll just clean up the house for you. I'll just sweep. I don't have to be a son or anything. I don't have to have my own bedroom back. I just want to just come home. I'm just really hungry. Remember, it said he came home because he perished with hunger. I mean, that's one of the reasons. He returned home to survive. He knew he was not going to survive in this environment with this famine. He was hungry. He wasn't going to live very long. So he only came home. Well, I see one reason he came home was so that he could live again, so he could exist, because he was going to die from starvation if he did not eat. Remember, he mentioned the bread that his father's hired servants ate. This thing, he was thinking about food. He was thinking about self-preservation. I'm perishing with hunger. These servants, they have food to eat. So he's knocked on the dad's door, or he was going to come home, knock on the door and say, Dad, can I just be a servant? Can I just serve you as a slave, as an indentured servant, as a nanny, as a maid, as a butler, as a chauffeur, as a servant? Can I just be a servant in your house, because I'm not worthy to be a son. I'm not worthy to be called that. Don't even call me that no more. Don't even call me a Christian. Don't call me your child. Don't call me your redeemed son. Don't call me your child, Father, because I don't deserve that title. Don't call me that no more. Make me as one of thy higher servants. Verse 20. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. This right here had me just boohoo crying when I really looked at it. It says when he was yet a great way off. If you've ever been to the country, they have they may have like a flat plain, a flat ground, and you can kind of see, you can see way up into the horizon. For several yards, if not even a whole mile, you can see way up into the distance, depending on how flat the land is, and how many trees are. It depends on how many trees are there or not. So his dad could see him afar off. Now what made me cry was thinking that, what if his dad was on that? What if his dad was sitting in a rocking chair on the porch, rocking back and forth, looking for his son, waiting on his son, just rocking back and forth. He'll be here. He'll be here. He'll be back. He'll be back. And then the oldest son say, Dad, it's been a year. Dad, just go on in. He's not coming back. And then he'll be back. Oh no, he'll be back. He'll be here. And then 2 years later, the mom comes out. Baby, I don't think he's coming back. I think he's gone. 3 years later, the dad's dad comes in. Son, I know you miss my grandson and all that. I know you miss your son, but he's not coming back. He's probably dead by now. 4 years later, the servants come. Hey, John, he's been gone for 4 years. He's probably dead by now. So this dad is just like, he just keep rocking in his rocking chair, keep waiting for his son, and just keeps waiting. Man, I really don't think he just happened to see his son this one day that he looked outside. I think he been looking for a long time, waiting for his son to come back, waiting to look off into the horizon. Is that my son? Is my son back here? Is that him? Is that him? I see a shadow. Is that my son? Who is that? Is that my son? Oh, it's not him. Is that my son out there? Just looking, waiting for his son, waiting. He could have been waiting for a year. He could have been waiting for 10 years. We don't know how long he's been waiting. We don't know how much his inheritance lasted him. We don't know how long he's been gone. But I like to think that his dad was just waiting for years, just waiting. Like, he's not back yet. He'll be here. He'll be here. Let's give him one more year. He'll be here. One more month. One more week. One more day. He'll be here. He'll be here. And then finally, while he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. So I'm going to stop here, and we're going to start back at this verse, and then I'm going to go ahead and carry on with that. So please look for is it part 3? I think part 3. Thank you.